I'm put my own phone out here. All right. Ha ha ha. I heard that, Chad. All right. Appreciate you guys being here. Just walking through, I was able to come over and see Dennis. Tell him congratulations for his number on Friday night. Man, what a cool accomplishment. To see him and just we're in there talking about the past days when he was here and different things, and just kept remembering how when Georgia Tech athletics has been good, it's been good and really across the board. Basketball, football, baseball, and that's what we're all pushing for, and that's what everyone wants is all of our athletics programs to really be able to to reach their maximum potential. So it's good seeing a living legend right there back around. So, but just got off the practice field today, first time back out, going into what is really a kind of a pseudo bye week with the Thursday game next week. So you start doing the math of the Thursday, Saturday, Wednesday is Friday, so on and so forth. It gets confusing as crap. So, but today is a Tuesday, but it's really Friday, Thursday. You get it, right? But we're able to get on the field and really completely put everything behind us. Players' off day was yesterday, so getting back around them today and be able to put everything behind us and be able to move forward and continue to really no different than one play at a time, one game at a time, and really what's left of they're one game seasons. That's what they are. So, but I was proud of the guys' effort on Saturday. Proud of their mental and emotional discipline that they had throughout the game that allowed them to be able to have that extra bit of energy and edge at the end when it was needed most. So, there's a lot of good things to talk about from the game. A lot of things we got to get cleaned up and corrected. But one thing I do want to point out is the two position groups on our team. One is the defensive line, where I think statistically, if you look at stats, there's probably maybe 4 or 5 tackles or whatnot among all of them. But if you look at the linebackers for the first time in a long time, we had 20-plus tackles at the linebacker position, kind of 20-plus at the safety position. That was right up the middle. It's what we wanted to – that was the game plan. It's the way we wanted it to work. That's the way we had our fits. So the unselfishness of the D-line, really from a statistical production standpoint, but allowing others to be able to do their job, playing within the scheme, trusting the plan that Tyler had put together and the coaching that Jess had given them. Then the strain and the extra effort they had, really to be able to affect the quarterback in multiple situations there. And then the other position group are the wide receivers. This might be the most unselfish group of wide receivers I've ever been around in my lifetime. Not only good players or good kids. We were in a situation on Saturday where they knew they weren't going to get as many, catches, and they knew what the game plan was. They bought into the game plan. They believed in the plan, and they blocked their tails off. They ran when they had the ball in their hand, made plays when the opportunity was there, and then to see Eric at the very end of the game really go down and take a knee. And win, as we call it, win the surest way, and to do that. And I don't know if there's a lot of guys of Eric Singleton's caliber in this country that would have done what he did there to give it up for the team. So, really proud of those guys in the not only how they've played, but the unselfishness that they've played with. So, with that, open with questions.
So, where does this unselfishness come from? Is that something you look for when you're recruiting? Is it developed a little bit of both?
I think really, you'd like to say there's a magic formula for it, but really it comes from the locker room. It comes in the trust and the belief in their teammates. I think Trent does a really good job with those guys of managing the room and, having those guys manage expectations and understand, that about the game. The quarterback, the way the quarterback is always the pivotal focal point of an offense and of a football team. Like I said, they're good kids too, but they're all in, and it comes from the locker room. When the locker room wants to win more than they want to have individual statistics and individualized praise and glory, whatnot, that's a good thing.
When you're in the process of growing the program, How much did that win mean, considering all the young kids that were watching the game in person, all your people reaching out to you after the game to do interviews, that type of thing, and all the publicity that went into it?
I mean, all wins are good wins. We've said that, we know that, all right? But the exposure that the program's been able to receive this year on a few instances, with the things these kids have done, it only increases the positive light people see the program in, and the most important thing with all that is the recruiting aspect. Being able to have people really on a national and sometimes global market be able to see the program in such a positive light, see the fan support, see the way the fans came out, the students showed out, and the energy that was in the stadium, and then and the way our guys play. Our guys are, they're a fun group of guys to watch play. They are, and a lot of that goes back to how we want to continue to build the program, and that's obviously it's through recruiting. That's our lifeline, and that's where we've got to continue to build the depth of a program and build quality players in the program that not only are good football players but are good people.
Have you had a chance to take a look at NC State yet? And if so, what are your thoughts on them as a football team?
You just throw a total curveball at me. Okay, we do this on Tuesday because all you ever want to talk about on Tuesday is the previous game, which I hate doing. No one ever talks about the next game on Tuesday. And here we go. It's a question about the next game. Just almost like a knuckle curve, like a sinker. Yeah. Of course I've watched them. Yeah, a lot of them. They're a good football team. They've had some ups and downs in the season. Here's Dave Doran is a tremendous football coach. Right? He is he's someone that I very much respect in this league. I respect in the world of college football. He's been good to me as far as becoming a new coach in the league and just kind of whether it be at different events or different things, show me the ways a little bit. You've just been really good to me in that way. But there's such a mutual respect and a respect for how he's built his football program over the last, 10 years or whatnot. So many, 8-win seasons. The development of the players in his program. He truly believes in being a developmental program and bringing guys in from the high school ranks and developing those guys. They play physical and tough at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be, it's a different defensive front than we've seen as of late. And the quarterback's playing good football. So, very similar in a lot of ways, program-wise, identity of a program. So it's going to be a big challenge for us.
Coach, I'm sorry. One more question about last week's game real quick.
I'm sure it won't be the last.
That 10-minute drive, the beautiful drive that you retook the lead in the second quarter and demonstrated your ability to do not exactly what you wanted, but pretty much what you wanted and taking your time to do it. I know you can't read his mind. Do you think that affected Cristobal's decision-making later in the game about taking fourth down chances and not kicking field goals because it was going to limit possessions, or had a fear of that?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm worried about our team and what we have to put, the plan we put together and executing our plan. And look, what's the surest way to keep a team from scoring? Don't have them on the field. It's pretty simple. So, we were able to execute and limit their possessions, and that was part of the game plan. But I'm not a mind reader though.
One more question about last Saturday. I guess you talked about the unselfishness of the team and just, over individual accomplishments. Talk about kind of the guts of the team, too, with so many guys banged up and just kind of doing what's best for the team, even when, they're hurting and they care so much about the team. What does it say about the, the culture of the program for guys to be, fighting through injuries like that?
Well, I could sit there and say the culture, all those things, but I don't know. Culture is one of those things you don't try to implement. You just you do what you know is right. The kids do what they know is right, and eventually, you look back a few months or years later and say, "Oh, that's a good culture." You don't know what's happening. You're just doing what you know is right, and that's what the kids are doing. So these kids play hard. They fight. I think there was a pivotal turning point, after the Virginia Tech game when we got back to Atlanta, and we called a team meeting right when we got off the bus, and told the team that I admired the way they've overcome the adversity that they've been hit with, and they've been hit in the face with adversity and injuries and things. I said, but no one on our schedule cares. No one cares about that. No one cares because everyone's hurt and everyone's banged up. Everyone has different challenges they have to go through in a season. So the standard doesn't change, and they've bought into that. But the thing that we did a good job of was, we've prepared well every year, right? But we've talked about the execution, right? And when the light's on you, when you're under the spotlight of not making it too, it's not too big. And I think the guys had the right, the mental discipline and the emotional mindset from the start of the game, so that when their number was called, it didn't end up being too big for them. So, we got to really be able to continue to carry that over as the season goes.
Coach, you've talked often this season about, whether it be after a loss, after a big win, about the response from your team. When it comes to a game like this, what is the biggest emphasis that you give them on how to handle something like this moving forward?
We'll get into more of that as we get closer to the game. Today was just getting them back out there and seeing them run around. But one thing I told them today was, you guys can be remembered two ways. You can be remembered as leaving a legacy, or you can remember as playing a good game. It's in front of you, and it's your choice.
You called it a pseudo bye week. What will it look like logistically for your team? Are you going to ramp them up or ramp them down, keep them at a certain level? What does it look like as you prepare for NC State?
I don't know. No, we went out today. We'll go out tomorrow. We'll work out, run on Thursday, practice again on Friday, give them off Saturday, come back on Sunday. And, this point of the season, it's about player availability. And we've got to get our reps in. We've got to get our work in. Look, football's not played in underwear. It's played in shoulder pads and helmets. So to think you can go out there and just walk through things without, you're not really simulating the game. But we do have to be smart in how we get our players back and get them ready to play.
Since you brought up player availability, do you have any updates on Chad Alexander and Warren Burrell?
No, Kyle Pope was day to day.
He's not a player. It's not player availability.
He affects players.
That's true.
Pope. We'll know more. Really, today's Tuesday. Come Friday, when we come out, Friday, and by next Tuesday, I'll be able to give a little better answer. We don't know right now.
Same with Jamal.
Yeah, same with all those guys.
Okay.
Look, this is a time, the guys, no different we have every bye week this season, guys that have been banged up. Today was a heavy day developmental. A lot of the guys, the non-travel guys, developmental guys, freshmen, they went out in pads, and we got after it pretty good with them, and continue to develop those guys. That's what today was, for the most part, about.
You talked about the kind of atmosphere on Saturday, a noon game. Just talk about after the win like that, how excited are you for this coming Thursday, night game under the lights Thursday night? It's kind of a standalone game. How excited are you for the fans to kind of hopefully ramp that up even more for that environment on Thursday?
Yeah, goodness gracious. You're talking about the last home game of the season. All right, it's a Thursday night. Right. Some of the greatest memories I have are Thursday night games in Atlanta. Just the atmosphere, under the lights. It's really where the Thursday night games were, really started for the most part back a couple of years ago, many years ago. But for our fans to come out and to see these guys at home for one last time, to know how tremendous they've been to us, for these 2 years, how tremendous they've been this year in their support of this team. To give these seniors, one last lasting memory of Bobby Dodd Stadium. It can't be more important.
You were down to only a couple of running backs towards the end of the game.
It's a running back question.
Yeah.
I didn't know where you were sitting, or I would have
And anyway,
I think it really would have been lighting you up.
Trey hadn't played since the first game of the year, or the first play of the year.
Right.
Was the thinking to put him out there since he was the experienced of the two backs, and a guy you knew what he could do?
But we only had two backs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a choice of him or Anthony.
Well, Anthony went to series before. Prior, he had played. You can't have one guy take all of it, and he was one that was in there, and Trey can run now, and he's been banged up. He's had a tough go of it this season, but he is an experienced guy. He's played football. He was crazy thing is he was working his way back into the mix last week on scout team, so made to make sure he knew exactly the plays and stuff, but he was on scout team last week, helping those guys out as he was working his way back. So when you get down to that, I mean, there's really no excuses though. We got to find a way and find guys that can get in there and get it done.
Coach Key, you were talking a few minutes ago about people that perform well when the lights are on. Can you speak to us about the poise of Aaron Philo on Saturday?
Yeah. We watched a Michael Jordan top 10 shots of his career on Friday night before the game. Really, Jordan was, everybody can argue about the greatest basketball player of all time and all these things, but that wasn't the point of it. The point of it was, with the game on the line, under 60 seconds, last shot, last play, he was one of the greatest to do it. In his career, field goal percentage with less than a minute to go in a game was still 10% less than his percentage in his career from the field. All right. Well, what does that tell you? Pressure gets to everybody. Right. What else does it tell you? The rest of the league was about 50%. So it's the discipline and the mental, the mindset to shrink that so that it doesn't become bigger. And we talked about that on Friday night. I thought Aaron went out there and in those times did a really good job and had some big third down conversions for us. It's not an easy spot to be in. I mean, not at all. What those guys were able to do, and the way Buster was able to, organize that and make it work.
Following up on Aaron, we've seen him a lot of reps at Virginia Tech, a lot of reps against Miami, but from when you got him here on campus, where have you seen the biggest growth day in and day out in his game and development?
Yeah, just knowing the offense, being comfortable, game slowing down. I mean, you take that step from high school to college. I mean, everybody's bigger, they're faster, the windows close fast, close quicker. His anticipation of things, just overall becoming a more mature young man.
You have this big electrifying win, big win of the season. Do you see kind of this pseudo bye week as an advantage or a disadvantage with your team kind of going off schedule?
Neither. I mean, it's a couple extra days to get our guys healthy. To me, signature wins are the last win, right? So, you're only as good as your next game, and that's what we're focused on. We're focused on NC State. We're focused on getting our players healthy, and we're focused on putting together the best plan and being able to execute in NC State and having that be to that point now the most electric game of the season.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Go Jackets.